Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Artefact stand. I'm very glad to get this opportunity to meet with you today. I hope that you are all well positioned and that you can hear me well. Yes, okay, fantastic. So, to briefly introduce myself, so my name is Thomas Filaire and I'm one of the three partners in our Paris office in charge of our healthcare practice. And I'm very happy to introduce you briefly to Artefact for those of you who may not know us, and also to discuss a little bit some of the recent projects we had a chance to work with some of our clients, to give you a flavor of, let's say, the level of conversation, the topics that raise interest at the moment within our clients, especially in the field of generative AI and agentic. We, Artefact, we are a French company created 10 years ago, and we are a pure player data and AI consulting services company, meaning that we are serving our clients, supporting them throughout their end-to-end data / AI / digital transformation journey. It's been quite a successful story so far, which leads us today to a point where we are more than 1,700 employees made of several skills, mostly I would say business and consulting capabilities, and engineers or technical people with data scientists and data engineers, which really help us supporting our clients from strategy to production of use cases, to say it short. We have more than 20 offices spread all across the globe, which also enable us to support also transformation on a global scope. When it comes to discussing our healthcare practice, we launched this vertical something like 4 years ago or so, and we are very proud to have more than 50 people working exclusively for this industry in France, and a large and growing client portfolio for which you can see a few logos here on the page. What is also very interesting to notice is that this portfolio base is expanding also in terms of the diversity of the clients that we address, mostly pharma companies, but also care centers, clinics, hospitals, and so on. And I will show you one of the examples that we are currently working on with hospitals. And lastly, to conclude this quick introduction about Artefact, I would say that beyond our consulting activities, we are also very proud to play quite an important role in animating the French and European healthcare ecosystem overall through our AI for Health network. And in particular, we organize every year one big event. This year it will take place in November at the Grand Palais. And it's a very strong opportunity for us also to animate the network of startups, academics, public players, pharma, and so on. So I hope we'll have the opportunity to see you there as well and continue the conversation. Today, I've chosen to introduce you to three cases, which pretty much cover, I think, interesting areas of the type of clients that we serve. First project around the medical activities that we have delivered for a Belgian hospital recently, which is all about auto-coding of medical activities for the entire hospital in order to really improve, I would say, the efficiency when it comes to tagging those medical acts, and which is, of course, a very critical activity for the hospital. Second case, we'll move to the pharma world and pharmacovigilance, and we'll show you how we are in capacity to really accelerate the production of specific reports, which are required reports in order to update the ecosystem about around the risk, the benefits of the drug, and so on, either during the clinical trial phase or post-launch. And the last one, we'll jump to the marketing world, and I'll show you as well a last example around the challenge of producing promotional commercial information, especially the challenge of localizing the content, so how to translate some promotional content being produced by the global and to make it relevant for one particular market, considering the challenge around the language, the local regulation, and so on. So jumping on the first case, the challenge is the following. So we've been working for a Belgian hospital, which, of course, each and every time that a patient goes to the hospital and receives some specific treatment, of course, this leads to a medical report. And there is a team in the hospital in charge of taking these reports and deriving tag codes in order to, first of all, get a very clear and precise understanding of the activity of the hospital overall, and also to making sure that the reimbursement mechanics is properly executed. This is a very complex task requiring strong expertise because the coding taxonomy, I would say, is made of more than 100,000 codes and requires a certain level of expertise. We are using basically the ICD-10 classification, which is Classification Internationale des Maladies in French, which is pretty dense, as you can imagine. So the situation when we started this project was that this team in charge of the coding were lagging months behind in terms of ability to cope with the number of patient stays and so on. It usually takes around 15 minutes to go through a medical record and identify the proper coding. So what we have worked with this particular client is a kind of agentic workflow. So we implemented a series of agents that you can see here. So super specialized in specific tasks in order to first, with the first agent, consuming this kind of free text, non-structured reports and producing a summaries to identify all the sequence of medical acts that have been performed. Then, based on this information, a second series of agents, and I'm putting a plural in these agents, made of experts for each pathology, they screen the summary and they make a proposal to find the most appropriate codes. And lastly, there is a third layer of agent that will conduct a kind of quality assessment of the overall results, just to make sure that some specific medical inconsistency are being tackled and we do not have weird results, I would say. And this process comes to the ends of the codification needs in the end, which has not only, I would say, no longer a kind of long page and the need to go through the entire medical reports and so on, but also something which is already predefined, pre-validated. And with this, we've been able to shorten the time to coding each patient stay by up to 80%, meaning switching from 15 minutes to 2 to 3 minutes. So I guess that you can imagine the value at stake for the hospital, which is very good also to mention the fact that not only we propose the code, but we also provide a justification of why we submit this code, because the agent has found this particular expression and this particular text in the medical report. So moving on to the second use case, we'll jump into the area of pharmacovigilance. Here, the project we've been working on is helping the pharmacovigilance team in the production of their DSUR and PSUR reports by drafting those reports and saving up to 30% of their time in this exercise. So to give you a little bit of a context, DSUR and PSUR reports, they are mandatory reports that needs to be updated either on an annual or semi-annual basis throughout the drug development life cycle and also after the launch. The challenge here is to be in capacity to process a large amount of heterogeneous data sets, because we need to be in capacity to process pharmacovigilance data, finance data, sales data, adverse events, information, and so on and so forth. And so here again, we've produced an agentic workflow made of several task agents, very specialized robots, if I may say, in charge of processing this tremendous amount of heterogeneous data in the first place, analyzing this information and producing a draft of those reports. Just to say, to give you also the information that those reports typically range between 30 to 300 pages. So it's something massive, extremely time consuming, that needs to be scientifically accurate. So this is really where the challenge resides. And of course, in the end, we have a kind of quality check just to make sure that the interpretation of the other agents upstream is consistent with the input data and the regulation and so on. All this process enables us to provide the final validation team with a draft recommendation, and it has proven to be very efficient, and the benefits here, as you can see on the page, in terms of business case is very significant. Several hundreds of euros saved per year, a lot of hours that can be reallocated to other tasks or to cope with the number of reports to be produced all along the way. And here again, we have a small demo, and you can see that you can select the kind of data source that you want to leverage in order to update your reports. And here you can see in a dynamic manner the inputs that are being generated by the workflow, the agentic workflow, the sources, and it gives you a lot of insightful materials to do the final miles and reach the final version of your document. So the third one, so we are jumping to the marketing commercial side, and the challenge is really to accelerate the production of promotional contents for pharma companies. Here again, the historical process was quite money and time consuming, with back and forth interaction with agencies and so on. And here, what we have been able to propose is a series of agents, same process as previously, a kind of a workflow made of task agents, in order to take as an input a brief. I want to localize this particular content for this particular drug, this particular therapeutic area, this particular persona in terms of audience. And we have several agents capable of retrieving local constraints, generating content, producing a draft. A third agent that is able to challenge the production with regards to specific persona criteria. So let's put myself in the shoes of a specific persona super interested in the new updates in terms of scientific research, scientific knowledge, or in the shoes of an HCP interested in better understanding what is the feedback from patients and blah blah blah. So we can create several persona to challenge, review, update, fine-tune the proposal from the previous agent, and in the end have a pre-MLR review based on specific local regulations, in order to come up with also something pre-validated for the medical team and accelerate also this MLR process in a very interesting manner, up to 40%, as you can see here. So here again, we are used to developing specific also user interface in order to really customize a little bit what you want to create as a user, and get the opportunity to get the proposal, edit, amend, make comments, and have I would say virtuous feedback loop along the way.